Okay. Are you guys able to see my screen? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So let me start with yesterday's assignment. Like I've asked you guys to do a few things. I would go through that first. And once I'm done with that, we can continue with the class from yesterday. So mostly I was discussing about how to pass data between Angular, TypeScript, and also HTML page. And the assignment is also for that. So in order to do our assignment, let me create a new component. Again, in order to create a new component, we would just go to the folder where we want to create the component and say ng gc. So ng is Angular, g is generate C's component, and I would specify the name of the component. For example, let me say for nav assignment, and it will create those along with the folder. Okay, and this is a basic thing which it created. So did you guys get a chance to look at the assignment at all? Or if you haven't, that's fine as well. But this is how I would do that. So let me bring. So this is what I had yesterday, right? Add input field, which updates the property via two-way binding, right? So in order to use a two-way binding, you guys may have remembered to have input type equal to text, and let me do that. And so in order to use a two-way binding, I would use an ng model, right? So I would say ng model and equal to whatever name I gave it down here. So let's say username equal to string. So that is what I have here. And in order to save, and I'm binding that to here, to the ng model. Okay. Apart from that, let us also show it down here so we know it's been updated. So let me. Okay. And 5, 9, 20. Okay. Okay, let me also include that component in our HTML page. So let me say prior assignment. And let us include that component by getting the selector. Okay. Once we do that, it should show that okay, assignment work, because that is what it's created. It says assignment work, but let me remove that in this case. Okay, for assignment, and once I type something here, hi, and you can see it's automatically updated. So the first one is simple. So all I'm asking is create input field which updates the property using two-way binding. Again, I would update for two-way binding, I would use ng model. Okay. So, and the second one is also simple, which is what I've done. Output the username property via string interpolation. So using string interpolation. I'm using curly braces down here, and I'm displaying the value down here. Okay. The third one is add a button which may only be clicked if the username is not an empty string, right? So let me create a button. And let me begin primary. So these are bootstrap classes. Okay, let's say something simple as click me. Okay. So what I'm trying to achieve down here is it should only be enabled button, which may only be clicked if the user name is not empty string. So right now, if I look down here, I can actually click that button just fine. You can see it's not disabled, but I can actually click that. From yesterday's class, you may have remembered, I can actually, in order to disable or enable or do something with that, I can use property binding, right? So I would simply use our disabled property down here. And I would try to bind that to a particular property. And down here, I have, I'm saying it should be clickable when the string is not empty. So I should only be able to click it if someone enters something there. So right now, it's just fine. But so how would you guys do? This is how I would do. So whenever I want to disable this based on a property, I can also use a method. I don't usually have to use a property. So I can create a method in our TypeScript down here. I will say click, or I can say check for username. Okay. But instead of returning void or not returning anything, I would want to return a Boolean from this particular method. I would say Boolean. And down here, I'm saying if the username is empty, right? So in order to do that, I would say this dot username. So in case of JavaScript or TypeScript, any other HTML programming language, if I want to do comparison between two things, like if I want to check username is of a particular value, I have to put 3 equals. Okay, that is a standard practice. Like I'm trying to compare username equal to some value. So in this case, I'm trying to compare if it's empty string, right? So this one in here tries to see if username is empty string. Whatever we have here, if and user name 3 equals 2 is for comparison. And I'm saying if it's empty, I want to not show, right? So in this case, I would want to okay. So do you guys know what I'm trying to use down here, like a if else? Do you guys know what if else condition is? If not, otherwise I would explain that. Anyone has any questions about that? Like what is the if? What is the else? Okay, I guess this is clear. So whenever we want to do comparison for a particular variable, this is how we would do. I would put a if condition. If this is true, whatever is in between these two curly braces, that would be executed. If not, otherwise, whatever I have these between these two curly braces, make sure you always put those curly braces. Anyways, so I'm saying if this username equal to empty, return true. If not, otherwise return false. So all I have to do is just call that particular function name in our here. or disabled. Okay, so let us go back, refresh, complaint. Okay, forgot to save that. Okay. And you see that now it's not enabled, now it's disabled. And only when we have some something down here, like I can type hello, you see that now I can click on this button. So I mean, I can create a method down here, do the comparison, return that value here, or I can also, I mean, there are two ways. I can also do the comparison down here. If I want to do the comparison there, all I have to do is I want to compare if username equal to that. So these are two different ways. I mean, I usually go for using a method name because I don't want too much expressions down here, but it's up to you guys. You can either create an expression here, just a comparison. And when this statement is true, it is disabled. When this is false, it is enabled. So yeah, you guys have any questions regarding this? Is this clear? Okay. And finally, the third or the last one I asked, upon clicking the button, the username should be reset to an empty string, right? So, and so we are using two-way binding and using string interpolation, property binding, and I'm also saying when clicking the button. So if you think if there is an action related to a button or any HTML element, you should remember that we are trying to use an event binding. So in case of our buttons, we have a click, right? And similar to what I have here, I can write an expression down here, or I can create a method in my TypeScript down here. So what I'm trying to do is I'm asking to set the username to be empty again. So I can see on click, or when I click, I can say username equal to empty. So one equal to means I'm assigning the value. So whatever is on the left is assigned to the right. So that is, it's taking that particular value. I can have anything here. 3 equals to means I'm doing the comparison. You may see examples where they would be using 2 equals to, okay? But I would always prefer to use 3 equal. There are major differences between 2 and 3, but if you want to do strict comparison, you always go for 3 equals, equal, equal, equal. So in this case, it's comparing value on left to the right. When both are equal, I would get a value true. Okay, anyways, so upon clicking, I'm saying I need to set the username equal to empty. So, and initially when I'm typing, I have that. Once I click on that, it's empty now. So any questions regarding any of this? Okay. So going with our task from yesterday, so I was discussing about different directives which are specified in Angular. So one of the directives which I've discussed is a if, right? Not down here. Yeah, down here. So I have a ngIf. So apart from ngIf, there are a few other directives. So ngIf is a structural directive. Again, it's a structural directive, means it actually changes the HTML page. I mean, the entire structure of the HTML page. Initially, I've shown you when I had, when this statement is true, I had the paragraph or When this is false, I didn't have the paragraph. So anyways, so it actually adds or deletes things from the HTML page. That is why it's a structural directive. Apart from structural directive, I was explaining to you guys yesterday. Okay. We also have attribute directives. Okay. And whenever I'm mentioning it's an attribute directive, okay, I can actually specify it as an attribute for our paragraph or any other HTML tag. So one of the attribute directive is ng style, and you can see a pattern down here. Another thing is like any Angular component, you know, or anything related to Angular, it always starts with an ng, and that's a standard notation. Like they've defined most of the Angular stuff using ng, and if they say if it's a style, right? If it's a style down here, then it's a regular HTML attribute, right? But in order to define for Angular, they have gone with ng style, and the same with ng is as well, what we are dealing with before. So anyways, in regular cases, if I want to define a style, I can simply say style equal to background color, aquamarine, something like that, right? But this one, if I'm just doing style equal to so and so, you can see that the value is always aquamarine or whatever I specify in here. I can say red, but you can see it always stays red or it always stays green or whatever I mentioned. But ng style, when I'm using, again, we are using Angular to make the web pages more responsive. In other words, I'm making it more interactive. Based on certain conditions, I want to do something else. So that is why we have the ng style. So I can say simply, in order to change something in here, it's similar, you know, the syntax is similar to what we have for style. Again, I would have a value or a property, and I would put a column and a value for that, right? Like right here. So it follows the same pattern as we have for a regular style attribute. So in here, let's say if I want to change the background color. Okay. But in here, I don't want to give a standard color, right? Like I want to change that depending on some conditions. Okay. So let me define a function down here. Okay. I would say get color. And I have a server status. And depending on the server status, right? If it's depending on the server status, I want to change the color. So let's say, and before that, let me try to change the server status to be random, right? I can do that by using some function, inbuilt JavaScript function called random. Okay. So what does this random do? Okay. Whenever I use this math.random, it tries to get me a number between 0 and 1 in fractions. So it can be like 0, 0.01, 0.2, so on, 0.5, so on till 1.0. So what I'm trying to do is math.random, okay, or if math.random is greater than 0.5, okay, I want to set the server status to be online. Since this is a string, let me mention that online. Else, I want to change that to offline. Okay. And depending on the server status, right? If it's online, I want to show it to be red. If it's offline, I want to show that to be red, and if it's online, I want to show that to be green. So I can do that again. Get color again if this server status equals 3 equal to offline. I want to return red. Else, I want to return green. Do you guys have any questions about what I'm trying to do down here? Any? Okay, so all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to generate a random number, and depending on the random number, I'm trying to set it to online or offline. And if it's online or offline, I'm just returning it red or green. Okay. Anyways, so what I'm trying to do here is say I'm trying to call this particular function. And let's say server is, and let me say server status. So it would simply say server is online or server is offline. Okay, let us, I'm getting so many errors. My bad. I need to include those properties in curly braces. Let us see. Okay, compile successfully. Anyways, so the syntax is similar to style, but I would have them in curly braces. Okay, let us interesting. Okay, maybe I'm missing. Yeah, I'm not including this. Okay, that is why it's not showing that. Okay, so you can see if the server is offline, you see it's setting it to red. Okay, let me also include the second one so you can maybe see a combination. So when the server is online, I have green. Let me refresh it. So if it's offline, red. If it's online, green. So you're actually defining the background color depending on a particular status. So, okay, apart from those two type of apart from edgy style, okay, let's say there is also another attribute based directive, and it's a ng class. Again, if I'm using a simple ng class, I would say class equal to, and I would specify the name of the class. And I'm trying to do this here so that it's more dynamic. And depending on our different conditions, this would actually change. So I would say ng class equal to, and the syntax is same. I would put something in between this curly braces. So I can, again, I can use a function, right? And do it here. Or I can also write a statement down here. So I always like the function, using function because it's a little clean, but it looks a little cleaner but it's up to you guys. You can either specify a function or you can actually write an expression right there. But anyways, before actually doing that, let us define a class, right? So I have style URLs, and I'm referring to that. And here I can specify a class. Let me specify a class called online. And as it gets, if it's online, I want to show something. If it's offline, I don't want to. So let me say the color would want to be white. So I would say online. I've defined a class called online, and the color is white. Okay. So coming back to our TypeScript, I would say get class. Define a function down here. And basically, I want to do the same thing. But instead of returning red or green, I just want to say if it's offline or when it's online, I want to return the class name. And here, the class name is online, right? And let's say if it's offline, I can also define another. What would go good with red, right? Let's check for Marion. Interesting. Okay. Or I can. So right now I'm trying to just return a class name. So I would define that here, and in the HTML page, I would say get class. Any questions so far? Okay. And let me also save this. So here I'm trying to, initially I was defining a style, but I can also define a class using the ng class. Okay. Okay. So when if it's offline, you see the color of this particular thing is a little different. Let us define something more visible, like let's say black. Okay, when it's online, and when it's offline, it's black. You can see that clearly here. The background color is red and the font color is black. Similarly for online. So do you guys have any questions regarding any of these? Okay.
Hi, Anvesh.
Yep.
Is ng class is another directive?
Yep, it's another directive similar to ng style. Sorry for doing that now. Yep, ng class is another directive, Angular directive. And yeah, ng style is used for styling, and ng class is used to mention what class we are trying to use. So that is why you see the syntax here as well. So I'm saying ng style and I'm defining different styles down here. And if I want multiple, I would use a semicolon. I would specify something else, like font size, or again, it's similar to what ng style attribute is, but in here, the advantage is I can actually specify a function name. So depending on certain conditions, I can actually get the value down here. While ng class, I would just be getting the class name. That is all it's doing. And again, it's doing that dynamically. So I can get, if I'm defining a function, it would just look in the TypeScript, try to see if the function is here, and also depending on whatever values I have here, it would assign it to here. So okay, is that clear?
Yeah, Anish, thank you.
Sure. So apart from again ng style, ng class, and ng if, right? I have 3 different directives: ng if and also ng if else, right? So there is another one, ng for. It's let me okay. Before actually starting the first, you guys are familiar with arrays, right? Arrays are whenever
it's a collection of homogeneous data.
Yep, it's a collection of data. If I need to represent more than one thing, I can actually represent using an array. I've probably also shown you examples before. Is it in here? Nope. It's probably somewhere, one of these. Okay, yeah, like down here. So here, as of now, I have, let me see. Have so many components. Anyways, there is the button. The button down here. No, this is for assignment. Okay. As of now, whenever I type a server name, right, I can do that and add server. It's not adding server, but it's just showing us this, right? But what if I want to actually, add a server, not just just show this here, but I also want to dynamically show it down here. So we'll trying to show how we can do that. So I just want to dynamically add, and we change font style like this. Okay. What if I want to dynamically add multiple servers? As of now, I'm only showing you one server, right, or 2 servers. If I want to add another server, I would just copy paste it, right? I would do that for as many servers I want to. But what if I want to actually dynamically do that? I don't want to, define a server. I don't want to change the HTML page, but I just want to do that dynamically. So in order to do that, I can actually use a new attribute called ng for. Similar to ng if. So ng if I mentioned that it's a structural directive, right? So that is why we have a star. All the structural directives have stars.
Is it like loop?
Yeah, it's a loop.
Okay.
Yeah, by looking at the name, you can say it's a loop, right? So similar to ng if, where it's a structural directive. Structural directive is something which actually changes the structure of the HTML page, right? Similar to that, ng for is also a structural directive, and that is why we have a star in front of it. As I mentioned before, structural directives have star, and attribute directives are mentioned using, square brackets. Okay. Anyways, coming back to our here. So in order to actually access that, let me define an array down here. So this one is a single, can only hold one string. And if I want to define more than one string, that is where I would use arrays. So let me define servers equal to, let me say server 1. And in order to have more than one item, I have to use a space, not space, a comma. And server 2. So in here, the servers actually holds two strings. One is server 1 and server 2. And in order to okay, let us try to add a server whenever we click the add server button, right? So on add server, I just want to do something. And I want to, what do I want to add, right? So in here, I want to type some name. Okay, let me remove this down here, server name. So I have a empty, okay, whatever I type down here, like for example, server name 2 or server name 3. Why is it showing that? But anyways, once I click add server, I want to add that server and also show it below, depending on whatever name I'm giving here. Okay. So what I'm trying to do is when I click this button, right? So I have a click event. So, and I also define a particular function to be called when I click that. So I'm going down here and not just saying this server created, but also I want to add it to whatever servers I have here. Okay, so start servers dot, and in order to add to a particular array, so this is standard JavaScript or TypeScript thing. So let me show you. Let's say this is an array. So array is more than one thing, right? So I can have server 1, can have server 2, can have multiple, right? The basic point is I can have multiple one of these. Okay. Initially, I had just 2, right? That is how I'm defining it here. I have 2 servers. But if I want to add something to a particular, and this is servers, right? The name of this particular variable is servers. If I want to add something to this one, in order to get something or add something to this, I would simply say servers dot push. Okay. When I say push, it tries to add something to this one. So I'm just trying to push it to this, our collection. So I can specify whatever name is here. For example, I want to do server 3. Once I do that, it automatically adds another thing down here. It will say server 3. So that is how one of the functions of arrays, right? And there are other things as well defined for arrays. So I have push, okay, and I want to add what? Server name 1. So I would simply say, I just want to change that. Is this clear so far? Are you guys, do you guys have any questions about how I can add to an array, some value to an array? Okay. If I
Hello, Anish.
Yep.
Can you explain the function on server created? That means I'm confused about this dot server created equal to true.
This is from previous code.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't need to have that. I think we had it initially because I'm probably binding it to something else here. Yeah, see, I have it for the ngif. I just want to say server was created and the server name is. That is why I had server created property here. This is from the previous class.
Server name one means the server the first the server sorry, the cursor first goes to the first server name, server.
Yep. Down here, I'm so the input is the input text. This one. Okay.
Okay.
This is bound to server name one, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that is why I'm trying to use that. Also, I'm displaying here whatever the server name one is. So let's say I'm saying server one. So once I create that, click that, it says server was created and the server name is server one. Whatever I'm typing in here, I can say server two or server 10, anything. So that is why I'm trying to bind it, add that to our services, because just want to add whatever I type in here.
Oh, like dynamically.
Yeah, dynamically.
Okay.
Yeah. So whatever I have in this text box, I'm trying to add it over list because I want to make it dynamic. Yeah. So in here, I've defined the property server one, name one here, and also in the ng model, I mentioned that. And also I'm in the paragraph down here, I'm showing the same thing here. So just trying to use that because let me also remove the one on the top so to avoid any confusion. Okay. So right now I only have one set refreshes one. Yeah, it doesn't have multiple. Okay. So I would initially it says no server was created. And also down here, let me comment this out so there will be this confusion. Okay. Initially, it says no server was created. Server is offline. Once I server 10 creates that server 10. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So I'm just trying to use that, but I also want to let me show you once I'm done with this. Maybe it would be clear. Okay. I'm just trying to use the name I'm entering in the text box here. So I'm just trying to show it down here, but I also want to create an app server. Similar, okay. So initially I have just one, right? Depending on whatever I'm creating here, I only have one, but I can also update it to have, let me go back to servers. Depending on the number of servers, I want to show our servers. Sorry. Initially, I only have one, right? But let me say, depending on the number of servers. So I have two here, right? I want to show two of these things down here. Server is offline, but I also want to show one more. If I want to do that, I will use ng for. Okay. The syntax for that is like this. So I would say star ng for. Again, this is the structural directive. So I would use the star and ng for equal to. And since this is an array, okay, equal to, let's say, I would say let, okay, and okay. So if I have an array named server, okay, this is how I would do. Let server for servers. So it picks the servers and it loops through, and it goes through each element down here in the server. Let's say I have 3 servers. Okay, right now, let me show you actually down here. Okay, and the servers is defined in our, TypeScript page here and in our TypeScript file. I'm saying I have 2 servers. I want to get values of RAM. I want to go through both the servers. So that is what I'm trying to do. Let me show you here. Maybe an error. Nope. Nope. Now even this doesn't show. There may be servers.
So,
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
so like that we
It should
can
actually,
create a number of
sorry.
servers.
Mhm.
Uh, can we create a number of servers like that by using dynamical?
Yep. Yeah, we can do that. I'm seeing I have an error down here. So, trying to figure out why it's not showing what it's supposed to. Yeah, we can. So it keeps on adding to this servers component or some array, and it should show. And server star ng let server of servers, and our service is okay. And array down here. Okay, I don't know, something is wrong, but that's how we define array. Nope. Okay, I'll get back to you why it's not working, but whenever I define this, you know, it keeps on adding to that, and it should show those. Okay, let me. I also created another one. So I'll open first. And it's the same code. I don't know, for some reason our example from here isn't working, but you can see whenever I add that, it's adding that, and it's also adding another server here. So that is what it does. If I add another one, if I add another server 3, you know, it would add a third one. I can keep on adding servers in that way. So ng for just go through each one of those and create however number of items we have in the array. Initially we had 2, right, down here. Again, the syntax is this one. So initially we had 2. It should be showing 2 of these, and it keeps on increasing depending on the number of values I have. Is this? We had 2, so it created 2 servers, or if I look down in our elements, root. Okay. So it created the first app server, it created another app server. You can see that, right? If I add, if I click again, it would create another one. You can see created 1, 2, and 3. Is this clear? Do you guys have any questions? So depending on the number of values in the array, right, it keeps on adding the components. If I'm using this one, ng star ng for equal to. Okay. Anyways, so these are different attributes, different directives in Angular. So we have ng first, and this one adds or shows the number of components based on the length of the array. So if I have just 2, it would show just 2. If I have 10, it would show 10, so on and so forth. ng if, you guys know about this. Is this clear? Do you guys have any questions about the ng for about why do we have that, or how does it work?
No, Anvesh.
Okay. So it just loops through however number of items we have in the array. Okay. Anyways, so with this one, with that particular attribute, or directive, we have ng if, ng for, ng style, and ng class. So these are different attribute selectors. My bad. These are different directives. Sorry.
ng model. What about ng model?
Oh, yeah. Yep. And also ng model. Yeah, good. Good. Also ng model. So these are in further classes, I will also show you how to create your own directives. But for now, these are the basic Angular directives. These come with the Angular. And from next class, the next class, I would be actually designing a particular web page, and we would go through our entire, starting next class, we would go through our entire training or the classes using those web pages. So let me define what I would be doing and how would be actually do. So as you have seen so far, I can create multiple components, right? Depending on my project, I can create multiple components, and I can actually use all of them in my main component, right? It creates a main component down here, like the app component .ts, and I can use multiple ones whatever I've created in here by just specifying the new tag. Okay. So what we would do is I would create a web page. Let me actually take my notes. So the web page basically consists like any other web page, right? For example, if you look at most modern web pages, like apple.com or anything, you see it has a few things on the top, right? The navigation items, and depending on what I click, it redirects me to that particular item, right? And it would show different things about that. Okay. So we would try to do something similar. So if you guys initially picked few different products, right? One of you picked Kroger, another one BMW web page. So you can actually use the navigation and all of that, whatever I teach you in this class. You can apply the same thing for your web page. And you can actually see the difference, like how better your web page looks once we do all of that. So the first thing we would have, right? We always have the basic component, right? Oops. So we would have root. Root is nothing but our app component. App component.html. Okay, we would always have that. Apart from that, I would also try to create a header. Okay, this would be the header, and the header would consist of navigation items. So in my case, I just want to have two different things. What I'm trying to create here is I want to show what items I have. Like whenever you're trying to create a web page, you're trying to sell something, right? It can be in Apple's case, it can be, it's trying to sell its own products. If I go to Facebook or Twitter, it's trying to sell information to you. If I go to Google, it's doing the same thing. So once you define the purpose of your web page, you can create your own components as well. But in my case, I just want to sell something simple. Like I just want to sell different, let's say, baking goods. Okay. Baking products. Okay. That is what I want to do. So in order to do that, I would create a component just for that, baking products. And I also want to show them as a list. So I would say baking products list. And in case I want to edit any of those, I also want to create another component, right? Baking products. Edit list. I just want, if I want to edit any of those. And in header, I would have two navigation items, one for baking products. Another one is how to bake different things. Like let's say I have a recipe. And this is how I would actually go on with the rest of the classes. By actually doing a project like this, you guys would understand how to create different components or add a few different things to your own project as well. In baking recipe book, I just want to show all the list of bakery products. And this is how we would actually also, once you start working, you would, this is how your product owner or your manager would ask you to do. Like they would give you, this is what my page needs to look like, and these are the list of things I need. So it can, this can be used as a example, similar to what you may be working. So, and bakery recipe for individual bakery items. So I just want to create a web page which has a header on, depending on, navigation. The web page doesn't actually look like this. I'm just saying these are the different components I want to create for my, baking web page. So another important thing I want to mention is, so did you guys create the GitHub account as of now? Did you guys get a GitHub account as of now? Did you guys get a chance?
Yes, Anush.
Okay, cool. So if you have done that already, just share that with me. And were you able to connect your Visual Studio Code to, to your GitHub account?
Actually, I don't know how to connect that. Maybe, do we have to paste the link there? I created the repository.
Mm-hmm.
And it is asking me to paste the link. I don't know which link I have to paste it there.
Okay. Let's see. Yes. Right now, just saying, okay, just saving it locally. Let me find your source control repository. The repository, check out to create a new branch. There are many other things. Let me send you guys a tutorial online. I'll search for that and I'll send it to you guys. In my case, it would go to this account. So this is where I've created, and also created repositories down here. You can see, home page, VTech. It would automatically go down here. And if someone wants to check my code, they can just go to my repository and look at the code here, or can also download it. It says code down here, right? And I can download it. But anyways, I'll show you guys an example, or I'll send you guys a tutorial where it would actually explain how to add, your repository down here. Okay, I'll do that, or I'll do that. And in the next class, if you guys are still having issues with that, I'll show. Sorry, I'll show you how to add that. But give me 1 second. Okay. By next class, I would send you that. I would send you something today or tomorrow. Control repositories. Okay. Anyways, I'll show you. I'll send you some online tutorial or something where it would actually explain you how to add GitHub to your, Visual Studio Code. In case you guys are not able to figure that out, we'll go through that in the next class. But I'm saying to create that and also include that, you probably want to put it public for now, or it's totally up to you. As you can either put it as private. In my case, most of my repositories are private. I have one public one, but you can put it public or private. And once you do that, it's important because in future, once you start looking for jobs, if someone asks you, have you done Angular projects, you can simply say, I've done that. But it would make more difference if you can actually say, this is a project I worked on, or this is a project I can actually show you guys. So I would simply give them the GitHub link along with, for example, this one. If I want to share this, I would just give them this link. I would say, you can actually see what I've done with Angular in here, right? In that way, they would also say, okay, you have done something. Apart from that, you can also use the same source code to publish your web page. So that is another advantage. So the two advantages is you can, it's good for marketing, and it's also good for publishing your web page. By the end of this class, I want you guys to actually create a web page, create a repository where you would commit your code and also publish your own web page. So you can show that as an achievement, saying these are the controls I've created, these are the components I've used, and that would actually be beneficial for you. And in the future, if you want to look at your code, you can also go to your repository and look at your code. So that is another advantage. See, okay. Anyways, so if you have already added that, you're probably seeing published to GitHub. Right now, I have to give access. Anyways, I'll send you guys a tutorial so you guys can go through that and publish it to GitHub. And apart from those two things, I also, since it's always it's difficult to zip the code, or if I want to look at your assignments, it's since Angular projects down here, right? They create a lot of folders, right? There, it's not easy to always zip and send it to me, but you can just share your GitHub repository. I can go there, look at your assignment as well. So different advantages. And also on the top of it, this is how we share code in at work. And most of the places are actually using Git repositories right now. So anyways, any questions regarding that GitHub? Or why do we use it? Or yeah, I'll send you a link. I'll see if there is a somewhere it explains it better. And anyways, after I'll also send you guys an assignment through WhatsApp in just a bit. You guys have any questions about anything we have discussed in today's class, about any of the directives or anything else in general? Okay, cool. In that case, I'll talk to you guys on Thursday. I'll post the assignment on WhatsApp. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye, guys. Good night.
Good night. Yes.
Anish.